The Family by Brockhampton, 17 songs, 35 minutes long. This is Brockhampton's last record. It seems to be their last official record as a group, as a team, however you want to call that. And definitely a lot of feelings on it, a lot of thoughts on it. Brockhampton have been kind of the quintessential late millennial, early Gen Z, so like, such as myself, boy band of the past decade or so. They've been releasing music since at least 2015, 2016 is when I started being aware of them. I'm sure as with all these things, they started a lot earlier. There's a long storied history of them, being like an internet boy band, which, you could also, depending on how you define internet boy band, you could also apply the same to the Arctic Monkeys, because we did an Arctic Monkeys bonus episode that talked about how, while they didn't meet on the internet, they formed and grew a lot based off of the fact the internet existed, and they were able to subvert existing, structures of how you had to come up as a band. Brockhampton, it wasn't unusual for a band to come up purely on the internet before. There have been mixtapes and rappers coming up like that, and bands also doing the same thing. Again, I just mentioned the Arctic Monkeys. But there's definitely something interesting in Brockhampton, both its size, its energy, its vibe, the fact you had so many different people. I think there were like 12 plus members at a certain point. And through all of those characters, and there were, certain scandals, I think with the Amir Van thing, but you had such an eclectic mix of energies from rap to R&B to hip hop. You had the Saturation trilogy 1, 2, and 3 that really encapsulated that sound. And then when they went kind of to major label, you got other records such as Iridescence, Ginger, Roadrunner. Now you have The Family, which is a solid ending. I think it's a good callback to what their best was, but I think the most disappointing thing about Brockhampton as a project to me, besides, of course, the allegations of at least one of their band members, but, that doesn't tarnish, like, the reputation of at least most of them, assuming they're behaving properly. But Brockhampton had so many unfinished projects, and I felt that there were some really great ideas. Like, there were the Years of Our Lives project, where you had 1999 Wildfire and 1998, what was it called? 1988 Truman, I believe. But you had these series of songs that felt like they could have been part of a larger project. That felt like they really captured this energy of electronic blending into rap and neo-pop / R&B, soul, funk, all these other different things really happening at once. It was a really, truly unique moment. But, it felt like that never really made it into a complete record because there's so many different ideas happening at once. The Family feels kind of complete, but also just because it's a Kevin Abstract and Associates project. Kevin Abstract is prominent on most of these songs, and Kevin Abstract, and even in other parts where you get other members of the band throughout here, this is not the kind of record where you feel that the band is ending things on the highest note. Like, definitely their best days, as far as enjoying each other as a band, hence why they're likely breaking up here, are behind them. And there is a little bit of reminiscing, but there's a lot of also, feeling that they're kind of tired of being around each other, and they're just like kind of over it and ready to go their separate ways. Probably Kevin Abstract's going to have his own band and project through there. And you can definitely see many of the other members doing anything from, fashion lines to acting careers, the usual Hollywood grand tour, I guess. So yeah, getting to the music of it, it's 17 songs, 35 minutes, as I said earlier. It's a very long, it's the direct opposite. The songs are very short, and so as a result, you're getting something that is very fast paced. A lot of things are coming at you very quickly. Some of the songs are barely a minute and a half long. And I think that benefits to it because, I think a lot of the best Brockhampton is the 4-minute long stuff. And you get that with songs like, the eponymous ultimate final track titled Brockhampton. That's a 4-minute long track that's really long, gets into a lot of things. The Family is also a longer track. That's a prominent one as well. But you're really seeing a smorgasbord of what the best of the band is, but also kind of the most chaotic of the band is. I think ultimately what I was always like the secondary thing is that I never felt secondary disappointment of Brockhampton is that I never felt that they were able to finish a record in, complete a record, on Audioface. We're always searching for albums that are cohesive. We're searching for albums that have a feeling that this song or these songs can only be done by this band and can only be done in this album. And I don't necessarily feel that at any Brockhampton project, except for maybe Ginger. I feel like there are certain Ginger sounding songs and maybe Iridescence a little bit. So a little bit in the later end, but nothing comparing like some of the really great projects. And maybe just like by having a lot of cooks in the kitchen, that's harder to do. But yeah, I think being as a Brockhampton record, it's a collection of songs. It's a decent collection of songs. Although it suffers from the Brockhampton thing of, it's a good vibe, it's good energy. I think a lot of songs call back to saturation, like Big Pussy and all that. But at the end of the day, the longevity of it, like Brockhampton was a moment, it was a memory. I remember going to those shows, it was a good experience, but like, I don't think they have the longevity or even the staying power of some of the bands from that time. Like, we're still talking about The Weeknd. We're still talking about artists from the 2015s. Like, The Weeknd's like a really, really big example here. But like, I'm trying to think of, groups and, 1975, for example. We're still talking about bands like that many years out, and they're innovating and doing a lot of different things. And it's a definitely apples to like fruit basket comparison, I guess, but you get cohesion at least through some of those projects. You get a lot of chaos, and 1975 is a perfect example, at least in the form of you're comparing it to chaos, but you're at least getting some cohesion as you go all the way through, and also longevity. I don't think Brockhampton ever fully achieved that. There are never a lot of Brockhampton songs that would just like bump all the time, except for some from the saturation era. But yeah, that's something I definitely miss and is slightly lacking from there. But ultimately, it's a good record. It's a final solid project. I will talk a little bit about TM. So as I said, The Family is a lot of Kevin Abstract's finest work, I guess, and he's very prominent on the record. TM is a not really a counter project, but it is a complementary work that was released afterwards, one day afterwards to The Family. Family was released on a Thursday, TM was released on a Friday, and TM are just unfinished but now more complete works from Brockhampton's entire discography. And I at least personally like this better because I think you get a little bit of Brockhampton as they come, as they are, as you want them to be, and you get them at their most fun. I think songs like New Shoes, songs like Better Things really invoke that All-American Rejects era, like the super early Brockhampton, the really fun, kind of chaotic, like, All-American Trash as well. And it really makes for an energetic record, again, a collection of songs, but stuff that really sticks with you longer. And so overall, I'm happy with all of these projects as they have come out. This is probably just like Brockhampton cleaning house. You probably won't get many more songs from them here or there, except some like bonus releases they want to like sprinkle out. But like I said, they all have flourishing careers. And I think in those flourishing careers, I'll be looking for how they take their own contributions to Brockhampton and make them their own. And also just like, do an album that has a start and an end that doesn't feel like it lacks because it has too many cooks in the kitchen. Arbitrary scale, do arbitrary scales every week on Audioface because our review is our review. And this week it's going to be alternatives to Twitter. All of them are pretty, not Twitter right now, but Twitter is being destroyed. So I'm just going to be ranking them here. And we use arbitrary scales because we gave you an actual ranking system that would just ruin the whole point of, ranking albums. I talked about it. I just spent the whole time talking about it. And you have it just now. Anyways, I'm going to rank this a Mastodon. Actually, no. I'm going to rank this a Tumblr, actually. This is going to be my Tumblr because it's a little bit messy. It's very chaotic. It's a little bit too much sometimes, a little raunchy, but it at its best can just be a collage of creative ideas. And I think that's how we'll send out Brockhampton. Also very relevant and very, tuned to the times.